Pause for a moment and imagine your family tree as a single fragile thread. Now, imagine that thread stretching back through snow, famine, war, and ash. Every time it passes a disaster, it could be cut. If just one person in one generation failed to survive or have children, you would not exist. Today, we rank 5 of the deadliest periods in human history and tell the story of how your ancestors might have survived them so you could be here now. One moment, one mistake. What if it happens now? Ice Creek's eyes glint in the mist. One wrong step, what happens next? 21,000 years ago, the last ice age peaked. Sheets buried most of Europe and North America. Food was scarce. Every day was a battle tracking herds, gathering shellfish, keeping a fire alive. Shelters were woven from bone and animal hides. Knowledge passed by whispers and gestures. What were the survival odds in a harsh winter? Uncertain, but maybe as low as 30 or 40% in the worst conditions. There were no antibiotics, no hospitals, only skill and luck. What if the sky cracks open? What if the cave roof collapses? What if that sound on the ridge is a predator? Hands dig through the snow. Flames flicker, a desperate, tiny sun in the endless dark. Salvation is in unity. 2 hunters, 1 prey. It must be shared. If one is lost, it could be over for the group. Survival teeters on a razor's edge, where every single step counts. If your ancestors survived the brutal chill of the Ice Age, how did they survive the next trap that history set for them? The land seems safer now. There are fields and houses. But what lurks inside the very seeds of this new life? Around 10,000 years ago, humans planted their future. This was progress, yes, but it came with a hidden danger. People began living in crowded villages, in close contact with their animals. New diseases jumped species and spread like wildfire. Diets became limited, often dependent on just a few crops. One bad year meant famine. What were the survival odds during a bad harvest? Maybe 50% or even less for the poorest households. There were no vaccines, no sanitation. What if a flood destroys the granary? What if a deadly new sickness sweeps through the village? Could a single night of rain or a cough change everything? People adapted. They learned to sort the best seeds, to build better storage, to trade with their neighbors. Some fled, some died. Each day brought a new choice. One more effort toward hope or the end of the line. If your great-many-times-great-grandparent didn't survive that failed harvest, you wouldn't exist. The planted field ends. Now look far ahead. Pounding hooves of war approach. Hooves smoke. A wall of riders fills the horizon. There's one path and no turning back. Who escapes? Who stays? In the 13th century, the Mongol armies swept across Asia and into Europe. Entire cities fell in a matter of days. Families had 2 choices: surrender and survive under foreign rule, or flee into the mountains and hope for the best. Survival odds in a conquered region? Maybe 40 to 50% if you were in the right place at the right time. So otherwise it was close to 0. What if the patrol finds you hiding at night? What if the child cries out and gives you away? Is this the end? Some negotiated, some hid, and many, many perished. Your lineage survived because an ancestor had the speed to run, the cunning to hide, or just sheer dumb luck. These were tiny, practical choices that unknowingly shaped the course of history. After the fire in the fields comes something unseen, something carried by tiny creatures. Death itself, one bite, one dinner, one shared spoon. And tomorrow, the village is silent. Will your ancestor live? Between 1347 and 1351, the Black Death wiped out at least 1/3 of Europe's population. With no antibiotics and no understanding of germ theory, almost every infection was a death sentence. Markets emptied out, fields went untended. Hunger and disease worked hand in hand. Survival in an infected town. Maybe 20 to 40%, depending on your luck and location. What if the courier from the next town over enters your street? What if your grandmother treats a sick neighbor, unaware she's already infected? Some barricaded themselves in their homes. Some fled to the countryside. Some were simply clueless and carried on as normal. Survivors often came from families who lived off the main path, or those who happen to have better nutrition and stronger natural immunity. Your line continues because of these tiny, almost invisible advantages. If disease was a roll of the dice, the next disaster takes us deep into prehistory to a fire in the sky. The sky turns to ash. Day looks like night. What do you do when the sun disappears? 74,000 years ago, the Toba supervolcano erupted in Sumatra. It was the largest volcanic eruption in the last 2.5 million years. A volcanic winter gripped the planet, causing global cooling and food scarcity. The human population shrank dramatically. Some theories suggest maybe only a few thousand individuals survived worldwide. The odds of survival in the most affected zones, perhaps as low as 10 to 20%. But survivors were resourceful. They found food along the coasts, they moved to natural refuges, they adapted. What if the hunts failed 3 times in a row? What if the cold and darkness caused fertility to drop? Who would be left to carry the line forward? Survival meant finding alternatives, digging for roots, gathering shellfish, constantly moving along coastlines where food was more reliable. Knowledge of the terrain was critical. One wrong choice or one bad year could have meant the extinction of our entire species. If your ancestors survived Toba, they proved they could survive almost anything. Now, their story leads directly to you. A hand grabs a hunting spear. A mother cradles a sick baby. A young man offers his last piece of bread. In every scene, a split-second decision made the difference. What if none of these people held on? What if no mother fed her child through the famine? Would anyone be here watching this video right now? Every long-lived family is a miracle. It's a testament to knowledge, adaptability, and a relentless will to live. Survival isn't just about statistics. It's about choices. Sharing the last meal, fleeing before the army arrives, storing grain for the winter, changing paths when the old one is blocked. Every one of these decisions can shift the fate of generations. So think for a moment. What single decision could you make today that might shape the lives of those who are yet to come? It doesn't have to be heroic. It just has to be enough to survive. Never forget the thread that connects you to them. Tell the story. Carry the knowledge forward. Someone survived. And because they did, you exist. Thanks for watching.